Australian made and owned, Hi-Tech Oils is one of the largest oil blenders in Australia with a truly national profile, supplying an extensive range of oils, coolant, grease, batteries and much more for all businesses and consumer needs. Choose Hi-Tech Oils for peace of mind.
On today's show, we head to Sydney Dragway out at Eastern Creek for our continued penultimate round coverage of the 400 Thunder Drag Racing Series, the Gulf Western Oil's Nitro Thunder. This week we bring you all the action from Pro Alcohol. Then we head over to Europe and return to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for the penultimate round of the 2018-19 FIA World Endurance Championship Super Season, the 6 hours of Spa. This is Speedweek.
Welcome to 400 Thunder Drag Racing. We are at Sydney Dragway. It is the Gulf Western Oil Nitro Thunder, and we've got pro alcohol racing today. Those supercharged methyl alcohol burning funny cars, dragsters, altereds, all in mixed together. And Mark Allen, the weather couldn't be better for it.
Yeah, I think we'll see some pretty quick times this weekend here at Sydney Dragway. The season started off strong here at Sydney. Robin Ambrosey taking the early lead, but it's all been Gary Phillips since that first event. Rusty caught up with him in the pits.
Gary Phillips, current points leader in Pro Alcohol, second last round of the championship. You know about pressure. You've won championships before, but the pressure's on this year.
Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, it's on every year, mate. Yeah, we're trying. I mean, you count every point and you run as good as you can. And, you know, with the all-run format, there's no bets, there's no sure thing. It's just a matter of going out there and doing the best you can every single run. And we did that at Willowbank. And, yeah, we're just going to see what happens.
Got back into the 40s up at Willowbank. The car was running really well. Looking to build on that this weekend?
Yeah. I mean, with the weather the way it is now, that, you know, the sighting run or test run, whatever you want to call it, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And just, we'll just play it by ear. But, yeah, we're going to give it a good shot because there's some good cars there.
Who do you want to thank this weekend?
Oh, yeah, Alpine Fresh Refrigerator Transport, Speed Flow Fittings, Lumen Lighting, everyone else that helps us. Fantastic.
Well, have a look at the championship points. The 400 Thunder title is still up for grabs, but Phillips has got one hand on that trophy. 295 points ahead of the reigning champ, Steve Reed, in the All-Star Batteries funny car on 241. Well, he's still there. He can still do it. And Rusty's going to find out what he thinks about it.
Steve Reed, second in the Pro Alcohol points coming into the event. You're the reigning champ. Getting to the pointy end of the season now. Going to have to start making up some ground on that old bloke over there, Gary Phillips.
Yeah, sure am. I mean, it's going to be tight these last two races. So, be fantastic if we can pick up a few on Gary this weekend and then play it out at the Winter Nationals.
pressure's always on at this time of the year. You've been doing this for a long time. Do you feel the pressure anymore?
Yes and no. I think I probably put more pressure on myself than the sport puts pressure on me. So if you're not trying hard and not putting pressure on yourself, you're not going to succeed. So.
Well, this weekend, as you said, beautiful weather now. Got past the rain delay yesterday. Can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah, beautiful weather. Absolutely spectacular weather here for today. So hopefully we see some good times and some good racing and see what happens.
Well, you have to say that Stephen Reid has picked up the performance of that All-Star Batteries funny car, and he's in a position to challenge, I think, Mark.
I think you're right that they really did step up that last round of the Pro Alcohol Championship at Willowbank Raceway. The performances are improving steadily, and I think with today's conditions, the weather way it is cooling, we should see some more quick performance from those guys as well.
Well, we have a mix of cars in our Pro Alcohol category. Here's one of them. Justin Walsh in the altered. It's loosely patterned after a 1927 T-model Ford.
I like
Very
how you
loosely.
said loosely there. I think that's a key word. But Wayne Price in the lane beside him, it looks like he has shut down and is getting pushed away from the racetrack here. That's not a good thing in round one of racing.
That's such a shame for the Speed City funny car team up from Victoria. Really are a threat wherever they go. But, well, we will see him back if they can fix whatever that problem was, because we are in this 3-round all-run system. So every car, every driver is eligible to run in each round of racing. It's all worked on points after the first 2 rounds. And then the top 2 point scorers go into the championship final to decide the trophies. The others go out and race again for championship points.
Well, there's no stress on Justin Walsh here now that he's got a solo pass. As a driver, it's a bit of a relief moment when you see that official come over and say you're on a solo pass. It just allows you just now to concentrate on your own run, go on a pre-stage, bump it in, away you go.
Traditionally, these open alters aren't as quick as the funny cars and dragsters. But I've got to tell you, he's getting faster and faster by the run. Oh, look at that. That's under the national record. 5:66 with a 2, 397 kilometres an hour. New combination in that, and he's getting faster.
Yeah, he's really backing up when he ran at Willowbank Raceway recently. There was a bit of a deep stage as well, so he watched off a little bit of an ET there. But watch his pass, a great run. There was a bit of a pop through the finish line though as well. So a lot of bang there, supercharger there across the finish line. Just look at the Sunoco replay here, Rob. We see the car launch. It's nice and straight, but just watch before the finish line. Yeah, you can hear the winding down noise as the supercharger pops. This will be the better shot here, front on. Yeah, there was a pop there. It was a bit of fuel or something hazing out the back.
So that's a backfire under the supercharger. The crew will have a fair bit of work to do before the next round. But all in all, a great round number 1 for the Hearts Paint Supplies team.
You can see the crew already inspecting the damage on this car.
Well, let's get it back there, eh?
And they'll want to get back to the pit straight away.
Round 1 of Pro Alcohol. It is the Gulf Western Oil Nitro Thunder. Here's 2 of the most popular guys in the category coming forward. On board with Rob Ambrosi out of Victoria.
Oh, look at the vibrations inside that car through the burnout. And he will be facing Brett White, the privateer, in the red funny car to your left of screen.
Yeah, Ambrosi, this beautiful gold-wrapped carbon fibre body. Carries a Maserati badge on the front. And of course, for Brett White, that is a Chevrolet Monte Carlo body.
Well, Rob Ambrosi, we had an earlier test pass today. He actually went a 5:78 in this funny car, so that's pretty good time. So Brett White will have a race on his hands here beside him. Brett White has been running into the 580 zone, just slowly creeping up on the performance of his funny car.
Yeah, Brett's one of the ultimate privateers. He and his wife and a couple of friends do all the work on that. And predominantly racing just Sydney this season, but do have plans to head to the Gulf Western Oil Winter Nationals for the final round of the championship up at Willowbank Raceway in Queensland in June. But here he is, looking for first round win points against a guy that won the opening event of the season.
Yeah, well, I spoke to Brett White earlier today, and this team, they just want to find a nice combination for the car, just focus on getting it down the track, just creeping up on it, and then look to take their sort of form into the Winter Nationals in next month.
So there's Ambrosi holding on the brake handle. Make sure he's got everything selected in low gear. To shift gears, he'll be punching buttons on that steering wheel. And the compressed air sends the transmission into the next gear. A lot of revs on board, Mark. Oh! Huge explosion for Ambrosi. Fire inside the car. Brett White not without his own troubles. A 570 at 406 kilometres an hour. There is Monique Ambrosi and the team. They could see the flame from the start line. Car has pulled up down on the braking area. The crew are on there right on the spot. Here comes Rob Ambrosi out of the car. Man, he is heat affected, that is for sure. That was a nasty explosion in that car, Mark.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in this race. Let's look at the Sunoco replay here. Ambrosi gets out strong, a little bit of shake, and then bang, that is a big explosion there. That's more than a normal backfire we see from these cars. Front on to the right of screen, Robert Ambrosi. See, it looks good, and then bang, there's going to be a lot of damage there. I think body probably could have been damaged. The engine, that looks very, very serious for Ambrosi, and then he struggles to pull it up. I'm guessing he's got oil or something.
He wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
He wanted to stop that car as quickly as he can and get out of there. He was on board with a fire. Of course, there is a fire extinguisher system in all of these cars. He would have belted that button, and the fire suppressant would have been over the engine, and it actually comes into the cabin as well to keep the driver protected. But all he wanted to do at that point was get out. This has got to be dramatic. Keep an eye on the onboard footage and the explosion.
Oh, you can see the fire inside that cockpit of Robert Ambrosi, and the bouncing. You can see some of the material there just on fire a little bit as well.
It's burnt the protective blanket around the transmission. That's how severe the fire is. Well, that was scary from the commentary box, but Rusty Gregory's down there on the start line. He was surrounded by the crew. Must have been horrifying.
Yeah, guys, down here on the start line with a guy who we were hoping was going to be in the seat this weekend, Russell Mills, pro alcohol racer of note, championship contender last season. Tell us, mate, why aren't you racing?
Well, those funny cars were getting a bit fast for me, so I'm trying to do a few modifications. I'm going to sit out the winters and then come back around August, September and test again with a few mods done to the car.
You say you want to change things. I know you're a little bit of a mad professor when it comes to that car. You like to do things a little bit differently. You only have to look at the car to know that. What are you changing around this time?
Mainly to make it slipperier. It does really good quarter, half-track times, and then the top end lets it down a little bit. So I've done a bit with the motor before and it picked up, but yeah, just losing out on that wind resistance, I think. So if that gives you a clue what I might be doing. Slippery.
You've got to be pretty slippery to keep up with these funny cars. I mean, they're fast cars, some of them running upwards of 270 miles per hour. Now, let's just talk about what happened with Robert Ambrosi, because we just spoke about that off camera a minute ago. That was a big boomer. You've had a few of those in your career. What's it like when you're sitting in the seat, you've got the engine in front of you and they go bang?
Yeah, fortunately, mine have never been a bang. They've only been a bit of a burn, so I haven't had that big percussion like that. So it hasn't set off fire bottles and all. So I'm pretty relieved that I haven't done that, but I could only imagine it'd be pretty ear-shattering in the car.
Absolutely, as we see Robert Ambrosi going back along the return road behind you. Well, Russell, hopefully we'll see you back sooner rather than later, mate. You said you'll be back in September. Hopefully that's a plan.
Sure will be, thank you.
Well, the good news is Rob Ambrosi is A-OK after that giant fire and explosion. And, Brett White's heading into round 2 with a win.
We move now into our next pairing of pro alcohol funny car. We have got Alf Shaka to take on the reigning defending 400 Thunder Pro Alcohol champion, Stephen Reed.
Stephen Reed up to the right of screen in the All-Star Batteries car from Queensland. Now, this family have been racing as long as the sport has existed in Australia. His father, Jim Reed, up in Queensland, was one of the very early pioneers of the quarter-mile sport, and the team have raced consistently season after season ever since. And of course, El Shaka Jr. He's doing double duty these days. Drives the Pro Alcohol Funny Car and a supercharged Outlaws Lamborghini in the sportsman categories. Keeps him pretty busy.
Yeah, I spoke with Shaka earlier today, and they ran a great 6.3 second pass in the test session leading to this round 1 of racing. They were absolutely ecstatic with that. They'd had trouble with tyre shape, getting the car down the track. It went from A to B, and they ran a great time. So they're looking to improve on that this round of racing against Stephen Reed.
And El Shaka Jr. in this Eagle Silicon Ignition Leads car, very different in the engine department to most.
Yeah, they have a bit of an Aussie flavour about this funny car. They actually run the Stan Saney 3-valve overhead cam engine compared to the more traditional Hemi style that Stephen Reed has. So they do a lot of their own development, very similar to the engine that runs in Terry Saney's Top Fuel dragster as well.
Well, for Stephen Reed, we're on board with him. Defending champ, he needs every win point, every ET bonus point he can get to try and chase down Gary Phillips. A little flash of flame out of Shaka's car.
Stephen Reed goes 5:51, 422 kilometres an hour of that funny car. That's low ET of the event so far from that funny car. He gets the win, but there was all dramas in Alf Shaka's lane. There was a flash of something underneath that car as he launched off the start line. Let's look at the Sunoco replay. We know Stephen Reed, he got down the track fine, but have it all eyes over on Alf Shaka's lane. Look at the back of the car there. You can see there was an explosion of some sort.
Yeah, it's backfired under the supercharger, and that automatically deploys the parachutes. But for Stephen Reed, that is a nice, strong performance straight into the mid 5 second range. First up, that will give him 20 win points, and it will give him a stack of ET points as well. But Shaka, that crew's going to have a little bit of work to do.
Absolutely. More importantly, we've got to check that all our drivers are okay after they go through, I guess, pretty decent fiery bang out there. Down here with Alf Shaka Jr. The great news, you're in one piece. How about it, Sydney Dragway? Put your hands together for the driver of the Satie family top alcohol dragster. Now, Alf, you're okay? That's the main thing?
I'm fine, mate. I'm fine. The Sydney Dragway got the best safety that any track can possibly have. But, yeah, thanks for everything. I'm all good.
So any idea what happened? I saw you trying to describe it to the crew down there. It looked like it sort of just went straight up and surprised you a little bit.
We lifted the blower off it. We'll go back, have a look. If we can throw another bullet in it, we'll come back out. We'll see how bad it is.
Well, there you go. Hopefully Al Shaka will be back, and fingers crossed that's the case, mate. Good luck for the rest of the day.
Thanks, boys. Thanks.
Yeah, we're here with Stephen Reed. Now, you've gone through for a round win. Will it be the old dogs again this weekend?
Well, yeah, it's looking that way, isn't it? We'll see what happens. Pretty surprising that it went 51 on that slippery racetrack. I mean, the track was probably immaculate, but there's probably a little bit of stuff I maybe got into. But yeah, it was a bit of a wild one, but hung in there and got through. So.
Yeah, well, the crew look like they're keen to get back and get this car sorted.
Yeah, let's get back and check it out. So good on you. Thanks very much.
Of course, we had a day of rain yesterday, and the crew here at Sydney Dragway have done a magic job to get the quarter mile into the condition it is. Interestingly there that Steve said it was a little bit slippery for him.
Yeah, he made a big move just to pass the 60-foot timing box there, so you did make a move on him.
Well, what we'll be able to do is have a look and see what Gary Phillips in the funny car can do here. He's up against Cameron Ambisi.
The interesting thing I noticed from this matchup, all the cars that have had lane choice so far have gone to the lane that Cameron Ambisi is in the dragster. After that last from Stephen Reed, Gary Phillips has actually gone into the right-hand lane here at Sydney Dragway.
Well, Phillips has been doing this a long, long time. He's won 19 championships in the category. 19! And that's a lifetime of racing, that's for sure. Cameron Ambisi, on the other hand, he's a relative newcomer to this category, Mark.
Yeah, he is. He hasn't actually run a 5-second pass yet in this dragster. But what may work to his favour this round of racing, Gary Phillips didn't actually run the test session earlier today. They did the burnout. Shane Phillips wasn't happy with the sound of the engine. Turns out they had a broken rocker on that pass, so they didn't actually get to do a run earlier today. So this is their first hit on this Sydney Dragway surface.
So, dragster versus funny car. How's that fair? Well, guess what? The dragster's a lot lighter. They're actually more efficient as well as a style of chassis to accelerate from a standing start over 400 metres. But the funny cars, they have more horsepower. They're heavier, got more horsepower, and it's all levelled up with the parity rules. And Beasy with a problem off the line. Gary Phillips is going to run a 5.68, 424 kilometres an hour, so the speed's good, Mark, but probably a little bit slower in the ET than he would have thought.
He had to back off on the accelerator a little bit further, a little bit down the track. He got off the line really well. He went 0.930 to the first time increment on track, which is really stout to the 60 foot. Then he got a little bit of shake just past that. He had to pedal the throttle, try and calm the car down, and then get it to recover itself, and he ran on through for a 5.68 second pass.
Well, that's not as quick as Steve Reed. So Steve Reed's got the 8 bonus points for low ET so far. Justin Walsh will get the 7. Then it's Gary Phillips on 6. And Brett White picks up 5 of those ET bonus points. But that's a 2-point catch-up for Stephen Reed. Well, Matt Kavanagh's down in the braking area, and I'm sure he's going to find out what Gary Phillips thinks about that.
Mate, we got Gary Phillips down there. You shook it really down the track, didn't you? But you still got a 68. It's not too bad. Third fastest, lowest ET of the round.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll take that. I mean, we should have changed that setup and the thing sitting there for a couple of hours or whatever. I mean, it's just, track was too good for what we had in it. Because when we set it up, it was hot. But hey, got down there. We got 20 points, 26, 7, yeah, well, who knows, but yeah.
We're looking forward to round 2, though.
Oh, yeah, why? What's round 2? Who we got?
Well, I'm not sure who you've got, but we know that you and Reed should have had a showdown at Willowbank, and we're hoping to see it here tonight.
Oh, yeah, mate. We'll be trying, I can bet you that.
All right, back up to you in the commentary box.
Well, as I said before, that is 2 points gained by Stephen Reed, and every single one of them is going to count when we get up to Willowbank for the Gulf Western Oil Winter Nationals, that's for sure. There it is, Reed with 28 from the round, Justin Walsh 27, Gary Phillips 26, Brett White 25. I don't think we'll see Rob Ambrosey back. We don't know about Wayne Price. We don't know about Elf Shacker. There's been some carnage in the pits, but we'll find out what goes on in round 2 from the Gulf Western Oil Nitro Thunder Sydney Dragway, and it's all coming up after the break. Welcome back to Sydney Dragway. We're at the Gulf Western Oil Nitro Thunder. It's all about the pro alcohol category in this show. The sun has set. We've had everything this weekend. Rain yesterday, clear blue skies and perfect conditions this morning. Now it's overcasted over a little bit. The weather's really chilling down, Mark. It's a challenge for the crew chiefs.
I think that because we have a bit of a warm day, the track's going to retain some of that heat. And I'm going to make a prediction. I think we could see some low 540s here if the crew chiefs get their tune-ups right.
The track has looked very tight in the other categories, that is for sure. So now we're going to find out what the pro alcohol cars can do. The Alpine Fresh Refrigeration and Lumen Lighting back car of Gary Phillips, and he's going to be up against this guy, the exciting Brett White. He loves to drive this thing flat, sideways, doesn't matter, he'll drive it.
Yeah, Brett White to the right of screen. In round 1 of racing, he ran a PB, 5.70 seconds. Gary Phillips in the lane beside him went 5.68 seconds. Both of these drivers have one win on the board today.
Well, Brett White, he's quick enough to take it to Gary Phillips if Phillips doesn't have that tune-up spot on where he wants it. And of course, Shane Phillips, Gary's son, he's calling most of the tuning shots on that car these days. And what a job he's doing.
He's doing an absolutely incredible job on that funny car. Brett White here about to move forward for Speed Solutions. And this funny car, I love the red. It looks fast sitting there.
I think he's keeping it plain just as a little message to any potential sponsors. Hey guys, I've got room on the side. They are privateers, as is Gary Phillips these days. He doesn't run with any major sponsorship, just some associate support. But 19 championships under his belt, aiming to pick up a 20th this year.
You can see both the crews have those slow-mo cameras recording the way the rear slicks leave the start line, the way they launch, the way they grab, so they can analyse it back in the pits and to see exactly how they reacted to the start line.
Right up on the revs, bump into the start line stage beams. Phillips is in.
It's a huge hole shot to Brett White.
I thought White might have had enough to hang on then, but Gary Phillips has pulled it out with a 5.46, off it early at 416 kilometres an hour. That Sunoco replay is going to be interesting, Mark, because...
I saw some smoke out of Brett White's funny car.
Yeah, Brett White got the jump, got a good hole shot.
It was 10th and a half on the start line. You could physically see him leave first. And then down track on the Sunoco replay, Brett White had a big puff of smoke out of that car. I'm not too sure what the problem might have been.
I got to tell you what, at half track, Gary Phillips would have been starting to get worried, I think.
He would have seen Brett White out on him. And then Gary Phillips, the power though, 5.46, low ET of the event by Gary Phillips, and he was off a bit early.
So Phillips gets the win, and the quickest ET of the event so far. That may be 28 points for him from this second round of Pro Alcohol. Every point's going to be vital. He's down in the bottom end with Matt.
Yeah, no, Gary Phillips, he's pretty heavy down here, and a 46, so it's going to be tough for someone to match that and beat you into the final, Gary.
46, our eyes are fogged up because of humidity. It's just, it was like one of those deals. I sort of pulled it up a little bit and pulled it. Anyhow, no, that was a pretty good run. I actually left a little bit on the table on that one, but no, the bullets flying, Alpine Fresh Refrigerated Transport, Speed Flow, Lumen Lighting.
You've got to be expecting to go through the final, so we'll let you get back there so you can see who you're going to be against.
Well, we'll see who we got. But, it was good being first pair out. But, hey, fantastic. Thanks so much for the crowd for coming out too. Excellent.
As I'm going in the stage, I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, my freaking visor went.
I could barely get on the clutch pedal down here.
Oh, really?
Conversation there between Gary Phillips and Brett White.
Yeah, I just heard from Brett White's crew. They actually broke a pulley down track, had a bit of a free rev. He had to button it off. Hopefully there's no damage in that funny car when they get it back to the pits.
And we've got to say it's really cool for these crews. They quite often just send us that quick text. Let us know what's going on up here in the commentary box. Thanks, guys.
The power of social media, Rob.
Justin Walsh in the altered, the short wheelbase T-bucket bodied car for Hart's Paint Supplies on the Gold Coast. There he is on screen, backing up after a nice stout burnout. He is going to be taking on the Victorian rookie, Cameron Ambisi.
I'll tell you right now, Justin Walsh is on a little bit of a mini streak. At the last round for the Willowbank round for Pro Alcohol, he won 2 rounds from 2 starts. He started off with the win here, so he's on a bit of a streak. 3 wins in a row in that altered. The Drake's has got a bit of work cut out for him here with Cameron Ambisi as he's about to move forward.
I tell you what, he may be a relative rookie, but the man guiding him in, Peter Wildman, he's been the crew chief on some of the most famous drag racing cars in Australia, including, Rochelle's Black when she was running Top Fuel.
Yeah, the dragsters are usually a little bit more quick at half track because they are a bit lighter. The engine is over the back of the rear wheel, so that weight distribution also helps them to be a little bit more aggressive off the start line as we watch both cars come into stage here.
A lot of revs on the start line, Mark. How high do they put them up?
Depending on the tune-up, they can go as like high as 8,000, 8,500 RPM on the launch as we see both of them leave.
This will be all Justin Walsh again. 5.70 is not far off that earlier 5.66. 3.57 kilometres an hour. He might have been offered a fraction early.
Yeah, let's look at the Sunoco replay here. Justin Walsh at the moment, second quickest ET of the round. He's got 2 wins from 2 starts. He's in the final against Gary Phillips at the moment. We do have another pairing to come forward, but we see him get the win here. We look at Cameron Ambisi. There was a bit of spark there out of the left-hand bank of the engine as he launched.
Big wheel stand off the line, and then something dropped off the car. Look, foam or something? I'm not sure.
You can see sparks, wheels up. It looks strong, maybe part of the parachute possibly, but he takes it through there for a 6-second pass.
Ultimately, though, they gave it a shot. They were very aggressive on the start line. Will stood away, but it is Justin Walsh picking up the win, and that's 2 from 2 from the Queenslander. It'll come down to who gets what in the ET points, because he picked up 7 in round 1.
That's it. This is the fun thing about the all-run format as well for Pro Alcohol. You'd think Gary Phillips is definitely in the final. He can't be bumped out of the final, but Justin Walsh, he can be bumped out of the final by Stephen Reid here on the start line.
I've been playing with the maths, and you were right. Gary Phillips is secure. Justin Walsh, he'll go to the final if Stephen Reid loses this race or wins it with a time slower than Justin Walsh's 7.0.
Yeah, we'll grab Justin Walsh very quickly. You've got yourself 2 round wins. The boys must have been thrashing to get this car back out.
Mate, I'm telling you, I've got the best mates in the world, and they're the best crew in the world. I couldn't race without them. You just don't know what to say about your crew. Without them, you're nothing. And those guys, they leave their wives at home, they leave their kids at home. Mate, I love them all like their family. They're the best blokes in the world.
Well, I better hang around and see what Reid runs, because you've done a 570, and if he can get a win and outdo you, you still might make the final if he can't beat your time.
Yeah, mate, look, that's probably the downside of the 3-round format, is you can win 2 races but still not go to the final. I don't want to wish anything bad upon anyone. Hey, Steve does a good run, he deserves it. If he doesn't, I get it.
Back up to you guys in the commentary box.
Yeah, Matt, these teams are pretty quick on the math as well. They've got it worked out.
Quick. Yeah, we need Steve to not run quick and we're in the final. But
You can see they were talking about it there, Rob.
They will be the most interested spectators at Sydney Dragway's Gulf Western Oil Nitro Thunder for this race. Riding on board with Steve Reid in the burnout there. Here comes Wayne Price. Funny car versus funny car. Victoria versus Queensland.
It hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Wayne Price this season at Sydney Dragway. Still yet to record an actual round victory in this season here at this track. DNQ'd at the first round of the season. Lost in round 1 here. Can he finally get a win on the board against Stephen Reid?
Well, if he does, he'll put Justin Walsh into the final against Gary Phillips. And that would just about give Phillips his 20th title. But if this man, Stephen Reid for All-Star Batteries, Reid Transport and AC Delco Batteries, if he gets the win and runs quicker than that 570 of Justin Walsh's, it sets up that great battle between number 1 and 2 in the points.
And it also would have been the final at the Willowbank round before the weather affected the finale of that event as well. There's a lot of things riding here on this pass.
Certainly is. There's 20 championship points for the win. There are bonus ET points that count towards the championship. And there is a spot in the final at stake for Stephen Reid. Or can Wayne Price get his first Sydney Dragway round win this season?
If he wants to gain points in Gary Phillips, he needs to run quicker than that. 5:46.
Reid, it is 5:45 with a 2, 404 kilometres an hour. Price's 5:72 would have won most races this season, but he's really just run up against an in-form Stephen Reid in the All-Star Batteries car, who's now on maximum points from 2 starts, and he's closing that gap on Gary Phillips.
Just looking at that Sunoco replay on board with Stephen Reid, 400 kilometres an hour across the finish line. Where else would you want to be? It was a perfect pass pretty much both sides of the track for the teams. Like Wayne Price's team, they're going to be happy with that run as well. They didn't get the win, but it's a step in the right direction for them.
But 5:45, he gets the maximum ET points. It sets up that final we're talking about, Phillips versus Reid, number 1 versus number 2 in the championship. Man, this is going to be an absolutely phenomenal final coming up at Sydney Dragway. Matt Kavanagh, this is on.
Yeah, we definitely do have an excited Steve Reid, and it's the final we had in Willowbank that didn't happen, but you're going to be against Gary Phillips.
Yeah, Gary and I again, so 2 old stages at it again. So, 5:45. I sort of wished and prayed for that in the staging lanes while I was sitting in the car, and I thought, the car's got it, but for it to work out is happy days for us all.
Yeah, well, Gary was telling us he's got a little bit more in the tank there, so it's going to be a great final.
Yeah, we've probably got a little bit in the tank too, depending on how much I want to push it. It broke the belt right in the lights, so probably the speed would have been way down, so it might have been a little bit there too. So
yeah, we can't wait to see you. Good luck in round 3.
Thanks very much.
That is going to be a phenomenal final, and well, if Reed can win that one, those points are going to be so critical because he's now picked up 3 points already on that lead of Gary Phillips's, and there's only one round of the championship left to go up at Willowbank Raceway in June. But look at that, Reed, Phillips, Walsh is the unlucky guy there not to make the final. It's all going to be coming up here at Sydney Dragway's Gulf Western Oil Nitro Thunder, and we're going to have round 3 and the championship final after the break. Welcome back to Sydney Dragway. Again, it's 400 Thunder Championship drag racing. We're at the Gulf Western Oil Nitro Thunder for 2019. And it's been all about pro alcohol. We've got a massive final coming up between Gary Phillips and Stephen Reed, the two title contenders. But exciting racing across the weekend, Mark, but been expensive for some. Let's have a look at some of the highlights.
Here we go, round 1 highlights here. Justin Walsh had a solo pass. Wayne Price couldn't get that funny car down the track. They got pushed back. Justin Walsh gets a win here.
Not only does he get a win, he runs 5.66 under the national record, and that leaves him in the position in round 2. All he had to do was run within 1%, and he's going to rewrite the record books.
You can see the guys looking around that engine after the banging the supercharger just across the finish line, but still ran a great 5.66. Next pairing out, we had Brett White in the funny car coming forward. They had laid down a really good pass in testing, and they were taking on Robert Ambrosi.
This is where things got expensive for Rob Ambrosi. There he is on board. Keep an eye on the gold car right of screen. Bang! Massive explosion under supercharger, big fire. Brett White runs a personal best and gets a little bit close to the wall in the braking area. Ambrosi pulls it up, comes out of the car. He was uninjured other than a little bit toasty in the fingers.
Yeah, you can see Ambrosi climb out of the top of that funny car, the safety hatch there. And you can see it takes the wind out of you, those sorts of explosions.
Then we had Stephen Reed in the All-Star Batteries funny car. There he is on board. Alf Shacker Jr. in the Eagle Silicon Ignition Leads car. And also backfires the supercharger in that car. A little flash of flame. It's out very quickly. But Reed ran low ET of the round to that stage.
Yeah, in a great 5.51 Sharker. The damage would actually take him out. They wouldn't be able to come back for round 2.
Cameron Ambisi and our championship leader Gary Phillips in the funny car. Keep an eye on the dragster on the launch.
Spun the tyres, a little bit aggressive in the dragster, but it was all Gary Phillips after that point. He runs through for a 5.68. He had to pedal the funny car because he got a little bit of shake just down track and was only good for 3rd spot in the ET points after that round.
Well, that set it up for round 2, and Gary Phillips needed not only a win, but he had to lay down a really quick ET if he wanted a spot in that final. And Brett White strapped a big hole shot on him before, well, something went away for the Sydney Privateer, and Phillips was able to drive round him with a 5.46. He would have been feeling pretty confident after that, Mark.
Yeah, I was thinking that 5.46 would actually hold for low ET of the event. Next pairing up, Cameron Ambisi in the drags was taking on Justin Walsh. Walsh on a little bit of a mini streak in this altered with consecutive round wins in a row, 3 of them in a row, and he continued that form here.
5.70, the win light, and a new national record backup for Justin Walsh. Cameron Ambisi, they got the start line right that time. It launched hard, carried the front wheels, but just didn't have quite enough for Walsh.
Wayne Price in the funny car now, looking for a round victory here over Stephen Reed. But it was all Stephen Reed. On board there for a 5:45 low ET of the event. Stephen Reed getting maximum points from the first 2 rounds of racing, going into round 3, the championship finale against Gary Phillips.
Yes, he's closed the points gap up by 3. If he can win the championship final that's coming up a little later, that will close it up to be a neck-and-neck thing going into the final round of the championship up at Willowbank Raceway. But in the meantime, Justin Walsh, so unlucky to not make the championship final, but he can add 20 points to his tally right here if he can get home ahead of Wayne Price.
Yeah, we've actually lost 4 cars after rounds 1 or 2 of racing from the carnage. Ambrosi, Brett White, Cameron MBC and Alf Sharker won't be coming up for this round of racing due to the carnage that we'd seen earlier.
It's been mechanical mayhem in pro alcohol at the Gulf Western Oil Nitro Thunder. But we've got a great race here because Justin Walsh has been in good form. He ran 5.70 in the last round. And Wayne Price ran 5.77 in the last round.
Yeah, it's going to be a really
very close.
You see Walsh is already backed up. He's waiting now for the funny car Price to come back and screen as well.
Yeah, Justin Walsh has replaced the clutch in that car and gone to a different setup. The first one in pro alcohol to do it.
Yeah, they're actually running a Lenco 3-speed with converter behind it on this car. So you'll see him go on stage. You'll hear the other pro alcohol cars, they'll be in pre-stage, bring the revs up. They'll get off the clutch slightly and edge the car forward in the stage, where Justin Walsh with the converter style setup, he'll be in pre-stage, bump the car in stage on a button on the steering wheel, he'll then mash the throttle, let go of the button when he wants to leave the start line, where the other guys will actually release a clutch.
So it's a torque converter like the style you'll find in an automatic transmission on the road.
Exactly.
So Wayne Price in the Dodge funny car from Victoria, Justin Walsh for Hart's Paint Supplies on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, you'll get to see that different style of staging here in this park. You'll see Wayne Price in pre-stage. You'll start bringing the revs up, slowly let go of the clutch and edge the car in the stage, where you'll see Justin Walsh just go bump, 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 in the stage, I'm ready to go.
Oh, Justin Walsh. After all that build-up, he had a problem on the start line, and that man, Wayne Price, not his best time, but a 6.12 is going to give him his first win in Sydney for the season, and couldn't be deserved by anyone more.
I'm not too sure what happened with Walsh's car, maybe a blowout possibly there with the converter style cars. One of the drawbacks to them is that there's a lot of strain on that supercharger belt on the launch.
We'll have a look at the Sunoco replay, whether we can... I don't know.
Not too sure. Yeah, you can't see it from here, but you know what? It's all about the win here for Wayne Price. He finally gets one on the board.
20 championship points for the funny car. And with, I don't know, just something wrong. It just didn't want to leave the start line. We'll have to find out later, but Wayne Price is going to be a very happy man with that win light.
Yeah, Wayne Price, it's you would get the car down every time, but you got yourself a win in round number 3 finally.
Yeah, it's been a tough meeting this race. We've done 2 blowbelts nearly every pass, so yeah, we've got an issue there, what we need to sort out before the winners.
Well, you know, blower belts are a lot cheaper than other components, so you got to be happy. That's all it is.
Yeah, I was pretty happy to go to A to B after all the carnage, you know, from other people this weekend. So, yeah, wasn't our best weekend, but you know, the car's in one piece, so yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, well, now you can take it back up to internationals.
Yep, that we will. Cheers.
No worries. Thanks for your time.
Well, Wayne Price was in a number of finals last season. It hasn't been the year for him, but it's good to see them coming into some form late in the season. Justin Walsh, well, he's pushed back in that Hart's Paint Supplies Altered. He'll be turned around later on and be looking for a big performance up at the Winter Nationals at Willowbank Raceway. We've got one race left. That is going to be a pearler. But, hey, Rusty Gregory's down on the start line with a guy that we are very pleased to see walking around.
Yeah, someone who doesn't want to be a spectator in this third round of racing, but unfortunately it's the way it shook out today. Sydney Dragway, we saw a very scary fire for Rob Ambrosi in the first round of pro alcohol racing. The great news is he is here on the start line with us in one piece. How about putting your hands together? Rob, not the way you wanted to kick off the Gulf Western Oil Nitro Thunder, and that was a big fire.
Yeah, look, it wasn't good. At the end of the day, we took off. car was going well, and it broke, the camshaft broke at the fuel pump. So the fuel pump stopped, and it went bang, really, really quick. A lot of fire inside. What do you do? That's drag racing. We'll be back. We'll try our hardest to get back out there again.
And that's what it's all about. You know, these things, sometimes they go bang, and that's the way it is. We've got a burnout coming through. Give us 1 tick, guys. That's just the way these things go sometimes, unfortunately, Rob. Obviously, fire's not... It's an occupational hazard, unfortunately, for a funny car driver, but the safety gear did its job, and that's the main thing.
Oh, look, the safety in the car is all good, and the safety at the track as well. Safety's fire, we were there straight away. As soon as I got out, they were there. Look, and I was looked after by everyone. We're okay. We just got to get back out there, fix it all up, and get back on track.
That'll be a massive effort for the Ambrosi family if they can get that car back together for the Gulf Western Oil Winter Nationals. That's what, in 4 weeks' time. So they don't have a lot of days up their sleeve. Here's the final of Pro Alcohol from the Gulf Western Oil Nitro Thunder. Sydney Dragway has provided an awesome racing surface this weekend. Both of these guys have been able to run 5.4 seconds. It is Stephen Reed that's got the lane choice. He's had the quicker ET in both rounds of racing. We couldn't ask for a better setup for a final, could we?
Not at all. Like, you look back at the last 2 seasons in Pro Alcohol here at Sydney Dragway, every final that's been contested with Stephen Reed in it, he has taken the victory. Gary Phillips in the lane beside him. When Phillips had lane choice throughout the day, he has actually taken that lane that he's in. So both drivers obviously probably happy with the lanes that are in here coming through the final.
Pre-stage beams on, those revs coming up to, around 7,500, 8,000 RPM apparently. Oh, and it's all gone quiet for Stephen Reed. There goes Gary Phillips. Runs a 575, 419 kilometres an hour. It is a win for Phillips. Not the 540 we were hoping for, but, well, Stephen Reed. Car looked to leave well, and then everything went sad.
Yeah, we'll have to see the Sunoco replay shortly with the how the cars both responded there in the final, but I was expecting both cars to still run to the 540 zone. Maybe the humidity, the dew may have come in here a little bit at Sydney Dragway, changing the track conditions slightly from what we saw earlier today. Watch the onboard replay of Stephen Reed. He gets out strong. Not too sure what happened with the funny car there, but I can see Phillips streak away.
I tell you what I could hear there. The car left hard, and then it really zinged up in the revs.
You're on the money, Rob.
I think it's broken something in the transmission.
Possibly. I think I just saw something go across the track underneath the car as well. Just watch the lane and Stephen Reed. There we go.
That's supercharger belt, but if with that extreme over rev, I've got to think that it's something in the drive lines let go. And of course, with the over rev, the supercharger belt will just self-destruct. The bottom line, you can see Gary Phillips a little bit loose off the start line. That might be a get out of jail, but guess what? The championship leader has the win at Sydney Dragway.
Yeah, Gary Phillips there. He's just, condolences to Phil Reed, really, but... Steve Reed. Oh, Steve Reed, sorry. Come on, it's late in the night. It's been a late night, but here you go. The gold Christmas tree, though. Gary Phillips, what an amazing way to do it. Sounds like Reed did a blowout at the start.
No, I think Steve just said he broke the transmission. I don't know, I wasn't watching. This thing was all over the track, and it was, I hit the limiter, and Alpine Fresh, Mitch Marie, Speed Flow, Lumen Lighting, everyone else.
Well, just keep bringing home the wins, really, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was a 20-point swing right there with the points for the championship and all that sort of stuff, and we really needed to do that. But, fantastic to race Steve again in the final. Deja vu from Willowbank a few weeks ago, but, all the crew, Steve, Al, Debbie and Shane. Shane made some fantastic calls and, talking to Steve and that this weekend, and it's, we got our hot rod back.
We can't wait to see up at the winners in 5 weeks.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we're counting them.
Well, Gary said it was a 20-point swing. It was, and it was a 40-point because he gets 20 more and Steve Reed misses out on 20. I mean, you take 20 off the 408, add 20 to the 342, and it would have been game on. It's still within reach for Stephen Reid. Rob Ambrosie's got a lot of work to do to get that car back to protect his third spot in the title. But the championship race will go down to the final at Willowbank Raceway's Gulf Western Oil Winter Nationals next month. It's been a fantastic pro alcohol battle here at Sydney Dragway. The Gulf Western Oil Nitro Thunder's not over for you yet, because next time we see you, we're going to have all of the action from the Pro Stockers, the factory hot rods. Yeehaw!
Coming up after the break, we head over to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for the penultimate round of the 2018-19 FIA World Endurance Championship, the 6 Hours of Spa.